All right, let's get it in with an NBA video. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, and check our NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. And we're going to talk about Jerry West calling the Lakers a shit house and saying that Kawhi was better than both AD and LeBron James. Also going to talk about the Rockets potentially trading for Ben Simmons or whatever they're thinking about doing. In addition to that, let's start off with Kyrie and Charles Barkley. All right. Kyrie just be talking crazy. All right. He said something about them being artists and performing in a safe place and having ownership. And Charles Barkley said, basically, you ain't no artist, you ain't no teacher, ain't no first responder. He said, dude, you dribble the basketball. He said he think he the smartest man in the room, but he not. He said you only went to college for 6 months. So let's talk about that. And my whole thing is with Barkley, he quick to respond to black basketball players, but he ain't quick to respond to white people. And him and Shaq, the same people that went up there, in my memory not mistaken, and basically protected the cops that killed, Breonna Taylor. So Charles Barkley, he been buck dancing and raccooning him and Shaq. And somehow Shaquille O'Neal continues to get away with it, but he do a lot of things for black people too. So I guess people look at it as it balance each other out, man. And my whole thing is Kyrie is a weird dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to kind of decipher what he's saying about, being in a safe place, being in a protected environment, having art ownership. Like, dude, are you just mad because people took your Steve Nash comments and twisted it? Because that's when he started to stop talking to the media. So is that the situation? Then it is what it is. That's what media manipulation is. One person get a soundbite or they put a story out. Some person nickel piggyback off their story, then somebody piggyback off their story, and they don't even go to the real source to really get the actual quote. They just going off somebody else. It's like the game you play with like kindergartners and preschoolers. You whisper one thing to another kid ear, and by the time it get through 18 kids, it's a totally different message. And that's kind of what the media is. Instead of everybody going back to the source and interpreting it from the source, everybody get it from the secondary, the third source, the fourth source, the fifth source. And by that time, it's just a different story. But, at the same time, I agree with Charles Barkley. Sometimes it's hard to understand what Kyrie trying to say. He's trying to act like he's smarter than everybody else in the room by putting fancy words together and putting, fancy quotes together. And I read it a couple of times, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. So, Charles Barkley got a right to his opinion. And he always beefing with black basketball players. You don't even see Barkley beef with white players. And white players, and ain't too many of them in the National Basketball Association. We can agree with that. It ain't too many of them. And they don't say a lot of controversial things as well. So, it is what it is, man, on that point. I ain't got too much to say about that. And then you got a situation where the Rockets said they want to trade James Harden sooner than later. It's what's leaking out. And then they talking about doing a Ben Simmons deal. Then Daryl Morey came out and said today that they're not trading Ben Simmons. I'm like, who the fuck is Daryl Morey for the Philadelphia 76ers? Isn't it Elton Brand, the GM, and he make the basketball, situation. Remember, Daryl Morey is the former Houston Rockets general manager that made those quotes that pissed China off. You know what I'm saying? If that was a brother, he wouldn't be nowhere near in the league again. But to continue on, if they think about doing Ben Simmons and John Wall in the same backcourt, that's not going to work. That's a tremendous defensive backcourt, but they do the same thing. John Wall is a more willing and a better shooter. Ben Simmons is not a willing shooter. You know what I'm saying? He can do all that dribbling, get to the rim, but he can't shoot for shit outside the paint. But I'm hearing they may do a 3-team deal, so Ben Simmons can end up on an entirely different team with the other team giving Houston something or giving Philadelphia something back, which, like I said, Ben Simmons and John Wall, that's a great defensive backcourt. But as far as what the Rockets do, what the NBA going, they can't shoot. You need somebody that can shoot. And they got Deron House, whatever his name is. They got Christian Wood. They got a few guys over there. DeMarcus Cousins can shoot the rock. PJ Tucker is a streaky but a willing and okay shooter. If they thinking about doing Ben Simmons and John Wall in the backcourt, then they might as well throw up the white flag. Now, they talking about doing John Wall and then maybe somebody else at the 2 and playing Ben at the 4 or the 5, which I don't think he could play the 5. I'm just saying that. Then it may work, but I don't see it working. They're setting up Steven Silas, the new Houston Rocket head coach, for failure. But I do think the idea is probably to take Ben Simmons and get him to a third team. And my whole thing is, Ben Simmons, you got to have a healthy Joel Embiid. This is going to work. Honestly. If they're going to win a championship with James Harden, because James Harden goes cold in the playoffs. He chokes every year. So you're going to need Joel Embiid to step up. You're going to need all the other players, Tobias Harris to step up, whoever else they got over there to step up. Unless Doc Rivers can really help James Harden get past that mental playoff block, and that's probably get some down screens, getting them with some plays, cutting to the basket, getting some easy buckets. In Houston, he had to work for every bucket. In the playoffs, he just went cold. And my whole thing is, with him, you just got to get him moving without the basketball in the playoffs and even in the regular season to get some easy buckets. And it's hard to get a prima donna pussy like James Harden to play without the basketball. But once he understands the power and ease without the basketball, he get to score easy buckets. He just ain't going to win you a championship at the top of the key and just making stuff happen. But I don't see Ben Simmons and John Wall working. If that's anything that Houston is thinking about, bad idea. You better be shipping either John Wall or Ben Simmons off to a third team in that trade. But that was just my opinion on that real quick. And apparently, the big story is Jerry West. Old dude released a voice mail that Jerry West left. And this dude said he middleman the Kawhi Leonard deal. And he got, receipts that's allegedly Jerry West speaking on the voicemail. And he basically saying that the Lakers is a shit show. He said, why would you want to go to LA, where you won't even be in the front page of the paper. Basically, saying Kawhi won't get no credit. He said, even though you will be the best player on the team, why would you go over there and get no credit? You're right. And that's just a real thing about LeBron James. Look how LeBron James fans turned on Kyrie Irving because he wanted to leave and do his own thing. Oh, Kyrie, he ain't done nothing without LeBron. Now, Kyrie win with Kevin Durant in the near future or this year, and then they're going to be dick riding Kevin Durant, the same guy they hated for going to the Warriors and talking about, he went to a team that, he said that had him there, that he lost a 3-1 lead to. My whole thing is Draymond signed with LeBron James after he got him suspended in the NBA Finals. So what you saying about Draymond Green? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just my opinion on it. He has the right to do what he want to do. What about LeBron? LeBron fans just act like he stayed in Cleveland and stuck it out and won the championship. He didn't. And then he sit there and Cleveland people look down on Akron people. And he started using all these excuses. And he said he went to Miami to learn to win from Dwayne Wade. You heard that from Michael Jordan. I had to go to LA to learn to win from Magic, or I had to go to Boston to learn to win from Larry Bird. Like, LeBron James started the trend of going to team up. When you see the best player in the league, or King James, which was the best player in the league, go team up, so why couldn't Kevin Durant go do it? Niggas just jealous because Kevin Durant did it better, But like I said before, Jerry West was right. Why would you go over there so you don't get no credit? And that's the God honest truth, man. He was getting no credit. It's all going to be about LeBron and then AD and Kawhi. But then again, the NBA is garbage. Don't nobody want to stay put. And I understand why nobody want to stay put. LeBron, they don't want the Clevelands or the Indianas or the Atlanta Hawks to win the championship. The NBA should legitimately be a 10-man league. 5 teams in the East, 5 teams in the West. Because they're not going to let Utah win one. Really it should just be the major cities, the major teams. That's what it should be. Because in reality, the Atlanta Hawks ain't going to win no championships. If Trae Young blow up, they going to make him get out of Atlanta. And Giannis just stayed. And they going to make Giannis pay for staying. If they can. The NBA all about big market teams. All about Boston, LA. They're not going to let LA and Boston, Lakers and Boston, be bad for long. They don't want Detroit to win. They don't want Milwaukee to win. They don't want Philadelphia to win. They want Boston and LA every year looking for ratings. And that's what got the NBA in the position they in now. When you go looking for ratings, it's like boxing. When you go looking for the knockout, a lot of times you don't get the knockout versus upper echelon competition. When you go looking for the remote, you lost in the living room or the bedroom. When you're not looking for the remote, you're looking for your keys, you find the remote. When you go fishing for ratings like the NBA do, you're going to lose a lot of fans. Go back to the organic point, and let people decide and get rid of the superstar cause. But Jerry West is exactly right. It's a shit show. It's a shit show. I don't like LeBron James. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like how he destroyed hoops and he took rivalries out of hoops and he took the AAU family unification and brought it to the NBA. I don't like it. I don't like how he don't take responsibility. He ain't no real leader. I don't like how people talking about, well, every big man needed a good guard. Max Kellerman don't know nothing about NBA. I just turned on ESPN First Take for a minute. What about Isaiah Thomas? He didn't have another all-time great big man. He didn't have another. Who he have? Rick Mahorn in the Hall of Fame, and Bill Laimbeer in the Hall of Fame. Hakeem Olajuwon didn't have a great guard next to him. Sam Cassell and Kenny Jet Smith was cool. Vernon Maxwell was cool. He won the championship without them. And even before Clyde Drexler's came. So it's examples of that NBA if you know the league. There's been times when San Antonio won that first ship, they didn't have no great guard with Tim Duncan and David Robinson, even though it was a lockout year. There's situations when, say, even though Iverson only won one game, he didn't have no iconic big man in the finals. He took a team to the finals on his back. So it's a time. You don't need a great guard or a great big man all the time. Sometimes you just need a great guard. Sometimes you need a great big man. Think about every time LeBron James won the championship in Cleveland. He had Kyrie. In Miami, he had Dwayne Wade. And everybody needs somebody. Nobody does it by themselves. But it is a shit show. I agree with Jerry West. Don't like the Lakers. Don't like LeBron. Don't care what happened to LeBron. Because I know he a bitch. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. All my social media description. You want to advertise your business on the channel, hit me up. Twitter is the fastest way, then Facebook, then Instagram. Want to make a donation to the channel, Cash App CJGood313. That's in the description. PayPal link in the description as well. Best way to donate personally is share the video. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Appreciate the love and support. Check out my Detroit channel, Mercy Sports Talk. Other than that, check out our backup channel, Goodfellas Sports TV 2.0. Appreciate the love and support. Check out the NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. One time, y'all.